挡到人家了。
哦，你看，帮我晒，阿妈，帮我帮他晒一下嘴唇。晒嘴来，晒嘴来啊！我在这里。豆豆，
הנה, הנה, זה לא, טלי. לא מכילים הרבה.
哦，小鸟呢？小鸟。
שהיינו שהייתם מבעל כזה, היה הרבה דווקא יש לכם נוף יפה היום,
עכשיו, יש ייעוד בשפל, המים באמצע יום יגיע עד המים יגיע עד למעלה, פעמיים ביום, ייעוד בשפל. כמה מטרים תראו, זה הקתדרלה של סיפור. את רואה את הכיפה שמה, הכיפה זה קתדרלה שנבנתה ב-1660.
My friend does it. She's doing it bad as well.
לא, אני לא
And then one of them, I don't know how to say it. Chef, everyone's got really, really good mark. And then
你来让我来追他，
he has to work.
阿丽真让我来追。
So they have to be sitting again. I bet the teacher's like,
哦，我看到了。
He's like, I'm going in Easter. He's like, I was like, I'm not supposed to see it anymore. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, and I'm like, okay. So he's doing that.
等一下去坐船啊，不要认为。等下去下面坐船。
בבקשה האחרונה של אביגיל. היא רצתה לעלות על זה.
אתם רואות את בית הפעם.
אני הייתי בתוך בית הפרלמנט. שושי, תראי איזה יופי, שוש. זה מזכיר לי את הלייפלינג שלי. מה עשתה לנו הבת שלך את הלייפלינג? שושי, באמת אין הרבה אנשים.
עכשיו את רק באמצע.
אתם, חבל על הזמן. אוקיי?
It's okay.
מדהים, לא מאמין, זה לא נראה שזה זז בכלל. מעניין, זה פנטסטי.
מה נגיד שלנו?
ככה יש לנו את כולם. חורף ומחורף.
Excuse me.
And what did you find that sentence?
He found
Jordi, walkie-talkie.
Hai, 一下下，可以。
זה בסדר, למה אור?
我要问我的老板，看他让不让我做。我坐着要这样子，我的老板才不会发现我在这里。
真的是摄影机在搞死。
他不是有防水吗？
太厉害，太厉害。
Did you see the Queen's Harrier?
Mà lấy xe à?
You guys want to see the shot?
Yeah, go, go. Yeah.
Right.
哪一个？
Queen's House。
I'm taking them round on the tour. At the moment, we're on the eye. I said that I'd be taking them out today. It's the last day, and I haven't actually taken them anywhere.
תביא איפה אקמול, אבי.
I can't hear you.
עכשיו, אחר כך שר.
Yes, I did. I told you that I'd take them out today, and we'd come to see you later. I did, and in any case,
那个太空胶囊。阿多多啊，阿多多啊。
I'm sleeping.
אמרתי לך שאנחנו עושים לילות. זה לא כי דדי אמר שהוא אמר לך.
No, Bishopsgate. If that's Tower 42 or whatever the... where's West Building? Yeah, it's Bishopsgate.
There's like these huge
דדי אמר לך.
and the mum saying, yeah, you're going to not have another one. Sitting next to me, she's married to a German.
In fact, there you can see
这坏坏的。好了，爸爸，给你。
even if they're any paper, sort of 60 quid the cost of buying their new car. I get to keep that car. Actually, I think I checked. We were thinking about getting a new dog, just because we have on the board, we like it. Yeah, it's got space and stuff in it, and albeit, I must have been 300, 400 quid. A year on insurance. It's only 700. Brand new. It's only 700. It's a lot.
鲨鱼。
鲨鱼呢？好鲨鱼对我们下面呢。有。鲨鱼对我们下面呢。
就是有肥的一个小。
哇！
That's amazing, wasn't it? Fish. Okay, mummy's in here.
I guess get a photo of the shark, please.
Hey, 哎，鱼。
手掐的。
要手掐吗？好，来对，大约这边呢。这边去，这边去，这边去。坐电梯，坐电梯。
the creatures you'll see here will rest in my...
We are in.
These like glass bubbles make one.
家里那我没有道具。
对啊，要前面一点，
没有
前面卖弄着玻璃哦。
对，你看鱼，鱼好多鱼哦。直接用个闪光灯。
哎，唔是我。
Oh, look at the starfish, it's big. Where are you? 몇 번째야
Nós também, nós temos meus tubarões.
Ah, che sono grosse, belle.
Oddio. Ehi, sta a filmare tu. Lascia a filmare tu. There's one layer up. White fish.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's loads of them.
That's a baby one, that one.
Round on this side. See, he's a big one, yeah?
Like a fan on the dog.
Did you see?
Look like a fan, innit? It's a fan. Can you see that? Coming down the doctor.
Where's the starfish?
I definitely is starfish.
There's starfish.
Wiesz, mapa está lá mesmo.
我来抱，我来抱。
Yeah, that big thing, that blue.
Yeah. Oh, and see that one there? Look, it's hidden.
You
see it?
That's a ray.
It's a ray. It is a ray. Well done.
哦，还有海星呢，呀。金的啦，弄金的啦。
还有鸡脚，妈妈，
妈是蓝色的。
来快点。
那个鱼你要妹妹？鱼？
海星呢？它收起来了，掉在树枝上的。对面的，那边有个细细长长的鱼，右边。有没有细细长长的鱼？唔是摸，不过细细长长的在下面鱼。怎么样？哎，好吧，爸，好吧。 给妈妈休息一下。
A seahorse on Stingray.
What Nemo likes to play in. That's only because you can see the bottom of it. Top of all and our soft fingers.
There's some shells in there.
一个一个来嘛。干什么？鱼？鱼？
上面有写，上面有标示。
我阿妈画画。
Maybe he's hiding.
Come on! Where's the orangeness of it? Oh yes, there it is. I don't.
Okay, I'll just get them in your bag. I can't get them.
What you say to her?
He wants to
In a minute,
Shark tooth.
海葵啊，海葵跟小鲨鱼是不是？这边啊，收过来啊。
啊？都有，两份呢。
你知道海葵吧？海胆。
海胆是黑的，
我看第一款是珊瑚，那不是珊瑚，叮当啊。
哎，老婆给你拍，我来放。来，爸爸，大家拍啊！好，爸爸，我来看鱼，
太小了。
看鱼。
下面下面
下面，那鱼。
哦，皮球。
鱼，
姐姐，
鱼，
哦，水。
你看鱼在下面，你看鱼，看哦，
真的。
看呀，那你叫一个。
有看到吗？哦，这个还比较大只，要大只一点才能看得到。鱼是鱼吗？是鱼吗？好好好，走走走。那个人怎么一直这样子的嘞？他这样子，那个鱼都跑走了。
刚刚那个等光跟皮来哦。
灯光变色，它变色，是灯光变色。
我真的有变啊！
不是灯光边头拍打灯光。
真的啊！
Excuse me, please. 妈妈抱。
If not, guys, then thank you very much for listening, and I hope you all have a lovely day and get happy right in the area.
他这个说什么是新生儿？啊，新生儿我不知道，就是那2只小的还是？
一共多少个鱼啊？
新生的啦，8个月之后生的，会出生的。
Let's go see the jellyfish.
Go further back. We ran too long.
因为我已经找了，然后这个也是。狗，这个看不到啊。
五花鱼啊。
这个没有看到。
下面很多比目鱼，
可以摸到的是吗？小心它。
我抱着它，它坐在我脚上，看到没有？来往前拍。
鱼啊 ！Ray baby spinning there. 是。3门。哎呦！不要了。
啊，宝宝。
好，宝宝。这边呢？这边都还没看。 想和小朋友一起。被场外人招走。
嗯，
小水母了。
超小型水母。
对啊，
那里啊。
对啊，然后看我那样的。
Look how many they are.
So they eat them in some
Look
way.
how many they are.
Yep.
Just so we got a portable starfish, any wheelchair guests, things like that.
Oh.
We can take them out. Yeah. You can touch them. They've got a little bit of a sting. They're sea anemones, yeah. But it wouldn't do anything to you, know. Yeah, on the orange. They don't stick. Just touch them. Just on the orange. Right, you don't have to worry that they're friendly. Have a little stroke of the starfish. Just very gently.
Starfish there.
He's nice. Can you touch those?
看宝宝嘞。然后还有妈都看一下。
慢嘞。
你的妈宝。
Sharks.
什么大海龟？大海龟。
2 minutes
那个海龟哦。
有啊。
Tak, it's about as a chili pie.
水族馆，伦敦水族馆 ，Aquarium。对呀。
Aquarium。
So please keep moving down on that right hand side, guys. There's no stopping, I'm afraid, on the right hand side. You can pop over to the left if you'd like to take a photo.
Come over this side, then we can stop and look. Stay over to the left. Oh, come on. We'll take our time, then. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's funny.
你看鱼在上面，宝宝，你看上面。
上面你看。
Happy guys, Ella, look, Ella.
On the right.
You can see
To the left if you'd like to take a photo.
it's the same. Hey.
这边看到大海。他们水族馆做跟水
Why does it say cargo? Imagine if that was water. Wow!
Stay close, boys.
You know your 3 times table?
Go this way.
You know your 2?
哇，好大的鱼哦！
像昨天发一样。
Mommy,
那个好看。没有，不好意思，黑的。
现在这两个游过来的。大鱼。哇，好大的鱼哦！上面有鲨鱼。
我要放假，要看放大镜，我可能我放大镜。
不是，不是波人，水有放大的效果。
我也看呀。我也看。这边还有。
Blue shark will be round in a minute.
Alright. No, you're supposed to stay with Dad.
I got a really big one now. I keep bringing it. I'm trying to get one of those really big ones.
You need to get them when they're going this light, because otherwise it's too dark. Stay there.
They'll probably be round again.
Just keep knocking and when it comes, get him.
I really want that one. Oh yeah.
Look, they're coming. They're coming here, look. These two fishes together. Don't keep zooming in now. Just have it. You've missed him now again. Climb up there. Come on.
This one's
I don't want a Nemo. I want everyone. No, over here. Over here. Over here. There you go. There you go. You got an unimpeded view.
Put that one in the bin.
I don't like to swim on the surface.
No, he's they're too high.
Yeah, they're a bit too high. They kind of get
尼莫在那边。
这边有，这边有一只啊。
Take one of the whole thing, go a bit back.
Oh, sorry, that
Take a
one. I'm
picture of
taking
all
the
of it. Put it up
clownfish.
towards the tank. Go on. And wait for the fish. We can go that way. Look, take it that way. Come on, we need to go.
I'm taking with your boyfriend. One. I really need to.
You've got a nice picture of the yellow one, look.
等一下哦，先去。
allemaal zijn, we leven op school.
I want to take a picture of that yellow fish and that orange fish.
Just look at them.
好多鱼，对不对？
可能講豆腐凍，好多豆腐衰喎。
哇，这眼睛好大哦，这个。
它的鱼有。
好，你在放啊？放吗？
他们的鲨鱼好像有公有母的分别，有的下面有两只那些的，那边看的跟这边看的不一样。
对。
那个里面下面有。
Profil, kami waris profil.
它这个上面就没有，在上面才可以放。
Waris τώρα.
那个上面两只那个看起来比较凶哎，
那好像是公的，就是那个，你看，下面我看小只的有几条。
He does it. But it was so big.
没看到帝王蟹。
因为我
That's enough, really.
Please don't just snap. Look what you're taking
Try and take
a
some
photo
nice
of.
pictures, don't just waste it.
下来干嘛？
One just went, they go right down.
Look at them things there. And this guy.
Gosh, look at his face. Him, you can see his face.
How did they even get
坏小孩。
你要做吗？做吗？
坐着好不好？好棒哦，哈，坐着就好棒。
Mommy, wait!
Oh wow, look at them.
这是海味啊。
海马可以当中药啊。
是啊，中药啊。
他写 Chinese medicine don't。
Look, I got a great fish.
Das sind der Heiligkinder. Das Bora. Wer glaubst du, bist so?
Take a picture.
Can you just wait for
No,
my
look at that little fish.
Yeah. Can you? I'll show you something.
See a really little fish.
Iruru. Sorry.
A little fish.
Iruru.
你录一下你啊。
在睡觉了，没有在游泳。
喝完水就心情好。乌龟 here go go go。
No, can't buy the thing again.
那个后背，那个后背。
Oh!
Let me see.
Opening race.
Where?
Oh, there's one nose for you.
Look.
Look at the turtles. Hi, Elise. Look at the turtles.
Go go go。 你看肚子那里在呼吸。
Vad sa du, varför han ligger där? Han ligger där och vilar lite. Han vilar lite, han kan lite middag. Somnar han igen? Vad är det över?
Yeah, but you might see the alligator. Sorry.
Är du kaka pappa?
看这么大。黑黄的那个，我不知道有几只，我只看到一只。Here。
Penguin to penguin. Right.
这个叫 V 宝宝，也叫多宝宝，那个叫 Lulu and his father, her father, Lulu and her father, Lulu。
这个卤诶，啊，宝宝。
哦，那边还有没有位置啊？
Here he comes.
Where's Juju's gone?
There's a shop, wasn't it?
Here he comes.
There's a big shark.
More. 海星还有很多颜色。这个海胆吗？
Look, what's that belongs to Penny?
这个是边那个啊，会嘛？
爱这猪。
There's not many fish living in the Antarctic.
Oh, we need that. Is that inside as well? Yeah, wait,
Right. Can you get Chris penguins?
Quick, penguins.
Look at this penguin.
I'm going to have a penguin.
It's all right, we'll try.
Just one right
No,
here.
we should go.
Dad, one right here.
Oh, look at this penguin so low. Yeah, all right. You'll be.
Hurricane simulation， 台风的那个飓风的那个。
That keeps happening. There may be no seahorses left in 20 years' time. Make sure they're around forever. There are so many differences in the sea. Something might not be plastic bottles is not be bad. Purples like me, I can tell you. Love jelly.
在这边换吗？我是要去找厕所。
小妹先换。小妹。
완전하게 발라가지고. 나 이게 유리창 깨질 것 같아. 때려도 다 밑으로 내려가지고 우린 지금 위에 있어. 쟤 봐봐, 쟤 위에. 그래도 여기가 다 튀질 거 아니에요? 아니야. 밑에 있는 사람은 위험하지. 우린 지금 다 올라왔어. 나갈 일만 남아.
That's hard. Excuse me, please. Sorry, excuse me, please.
Sit down, sit down, sit down. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Sit down, sit down.
When you can go? This is right. Oh, for delicious.
Years old, and there is a twin needle in Central Park in London. Then we have a building, it's got a green roof and a flag in the middle. That is the London Savoy Hotel. It's very nice and it's very, very expensive. Stay there for one night in a riverside room, it's £1,000. So what I can do is cross over the road and there's a Premier Inn, and that is £29. Waterloo Bridge, don't forget to wave, known as the Ladies' Bridge, built by ladies in the Second World War. Whilst the number of war, the girls are burned under construction, the bridge there was one of the three gentlemen, the ladies, they did an excellent job. So we'll come to the girls, on the right hand side, the building with the advertisement screen, that's our National Theatre. Inside of that building there's 3 separate halls. The main one is called the Olivier, and that is named after Laurence Olivier, the founder of that building. The building itself, it has been voted on many occasions to be London's most ugliest riverside building. And I think we'd probably agree that is one ugly building. It looks a bit more like a car park, but there we are. Believe me when I say this, it is very nice inside, so don't be put off by the appearance of it. And there you go, there's sunny now. Over on the left, in front of the boat, there's a white ship with a yellow funnel. That is called the Wellington. It used to be part of the New Zealand Navy. Today, it's a floating livery hall, a floating livery or drinking club for retired sea captains on the left. Now we're coming past the ship on the left and we're looking towards the river's wall. On the river wall, just behind the ship, there is a stone archway, and this is called Temple Arch, dividing the City of London and the City of Westminster. Ahead of the boat and to your left-hand side now, we have the 1 square mile, the City of London. It's a very small area. Away to the right and ahead of us, there's a red brick building. It's got the glass canopy and the tower. That is Stanford Wharf. That building over there used to be a cold storage meat warehouse, converted into luxury flats. The glass canopy at the top there on the roof, Harvey Nichols Restaurant. That is one of the top 10 restaurants in London. Above the restaurant, look at the windows in the tower, OXO. It's where they made the little gravy, the famous stock cube, also on the right there. For everyone on the top deck, got your cameras, a nice view ahead of us there of St Paul's. It looks a bit dark and dull, the sky, but you might want to take a picture on the left. Just further along on the left, you've got the HMS President, an old gunboat on the First World War. Further along on the left, there's a red building, and it looks like a church. Zion College and Library, a school and a study for the clergy here in London. Then we got the building with the green sloping roof, the old City of London School for Boys. Many of our past members of... Sorry, that's the other crew on there. I've got to leave their plates and dinner for them. I've left it on there, that's it. Now, as I say, the old City of London School for Boys, and then the semicircular building on the corner, that is the Unilever House, the office of Unilever, the big soap and detergent manufacturers. This is a nice picture, folks, over the bridge here. Look, as we go through, take your picture over the bridge of St Paul's on the left there. It's not a bad view. This is the Blackfriars, this one. It is a road bridge, and it was opened in 1869. Named after the Blackfriars Monastery that stood on the left-hand side. Is there people up here? Is he going to wave? No, he's from London, so he's miserable. Now we go through the bridge, look left and right, and you'll see the red columns in the river. These columns carry the Chatham and Dover Steam Railway. The top half of the railway became unsafe, it was taken away. They could never remove the columns, the other bridges would fall over. The last one is the Blackfriars Railway, and it has been rebuilt over the last few years. As we come through the bridge, look ahead of us on the left, we have the Dome and the Golden Cross St Paul's Cathedral. It was designed by Sir Christopher Wren. It took 35 years to build it, completed in 1710. See, there's people viewing from the top of St Paul's. Get a lovely view up there of the London skyline, top of St Paul's Cathedral. The only problem, ladies and gentlemen, there is no lift to get you up there. You have to climb over 500 steps. But if you have the energy, then it really is definitely worth the effort. The building on our right-hand side with the tall chimney is the Tate Gallery of Modern Arts. This is the largest modern art gallery in Europe. and I'm told it is free to visit this building, see today's contemporary modern art. Now we're approaching the Millennium Bridge, or better known to us as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. It was opened up on a Saturday morning by the Queen, closed the same afternoon by the police for being unsafe. Thousands of people walked over the bridge. It started to move nearly a foot in either direction. So they shut the bridge down, they've re-strengthened it, renaming it the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge over the old River Thames. Now over on the right, folks, to our right we have a round building. It's got the thatch on the roof, and that is the replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. It's the only building in London to be allowed the thatch on the roof since the Great Fire of London. During the summertime, from May to the end of September, go inside this building and watch a famous play. Plays are performed in the traditional way. There's no microphones or stage lighting. It's all done as it would have been done years ago. The area to our right is the old sort of playground of Elizabethan London. So we had the crawl sports, the gambling dens, the theatres and the taverns in this area on our right. Ahead of us we have Southwark Bridge. Now when you look on this bridge you don't see many people, you don't see many cars. This is due to the bad planning of the approach roads. The main approach roads to this bridge are hidden so well in the back streets of London, nobody can even find it to use it. And they do say if you find yourself on this bridge at any time, you are probably lost or drunk. So try and avoid the bridge if you can. Now if you like the old London pubs, there's one over on the right here, the Anchor Tavern at Bankside. The pub is over 300 years old, mentioned in the diary of Dr. Johnson and Samuel Pepys, and that's a lovely old London pub there on the right hand side. Cannon Street is the railway. Now have a look at the speed of the tide as we go through the bridge, coming towards the boat, swirling around the columns. Tide floods into London for 5 hours. It goes out to sea for 7 hours, and there is a rise and fall here on the river between 18 and 26 feet of water. So it's a big rise and tide. It's going to go another metre higher yet before the high water in about an hour and a half. Now for the young children, boys and girls, over on your right, in the dockway, a real pirate ship. Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. Drake was the first person to sail a ship around the world. He did so, it took him 3 years with a crew of 80 men. That ship over there, it's not a model, it's a real ship. It's been around the world and it's open there today as a museum. Now stay to the right between the next gap in the building and you'll see the lovely Southwark Cathedral. This building dates back to the 14th century. It's not a bad little picture on the right. And ahead of us now we have the world famous London Bridge. Now it's not much to look at, but the history is very famous. The first one was built by the Romans. The previous London Bridge started sinking. Sold to an American businessman, Mr. John McCulloch, for £1 million. And that bridge today is in Arizona, in America, where it spans Lake Havasu. Has anyone seen the bridge in America? Has anyone heard the story? Is anybody listening to me? Oh, you are? Okay, I'll just talk to myself again. Between the buildings on the left, the white column with a golden ball is the monument to the Great Fire of London. And up to our right there we have the Shard of Glass, the tallest building in Western Europe. It stands at just under 1,100 feet. There's a hotel, there's offices. The 72nd floor is a public viewing gallery. There's also luxury penthouse apartments on the top. And the value of those apartments up there, folks, they are £48 million each. Okay, 48 million. Now it's snowing again. There we go, look. Now ahead of us and to the right hand side we have a warship in the river, HMS Belfast. It was built in 1938 in the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast. It saw action in the Second World War. It was the flagship of the United Nations on D-Day. It's moored here in London today as a museum. Can you believe this weather? What is going on in this country? It is unbelievable, isn't it? Snowing. What is happening? I suppose this is so cold it's turn it into snow and it's not rain, so that's probably not too bad. There's a little positive to it. We have to be very positive in this country. Send your crackers otherwise, I think. So anyway, folks, say a very interesting ship, the Belfast. She saw action during that Second World War, and it's a museum today. Give the young girl wave up there. Look. Over on the left-hand side there, look, there's Tower Pier. We're going to go alongside Tower Pier in a moment's time. I don't know why I've got a pair of sunglasses on me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do here, James, let's just go on full once that weather comes clear. Now, look at this poor little lot on this open boat, look. See the little open boat there, look. I think I'd fancy being on there, look at that. Get your skis out, look. Oh, this is a proper snowing now, look at this, look. It's unbelievable. It was sunny at Westminster. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to get you into the... Look at this, unbelievable. Tower Bridge ahead of us, the gateway to London. Opened in 1894, designed by Sir John Wolfe Barry. The centre roadway of this bridge is two parts, and they're called bascules, and they lift up like a double-sided drawbridge, allow the big ships into this part of the river. Lovely bridge, Tower Bridge. It looks its best of an evening time when it's all lit up. It is a lovely sight. If you'd like to return back up the river, there is a boat departing the pier. They are leaving every 20 minutes until 6:30 tonight. If you've got a big bus, original bus on the main road up there, if you'd like to join the buses. The last little thing that we do mention, a very quick word about the commentary. As we did say, we're only the crew here, we're licensed watermen, here for the safety of you and the boats. It does seem a bit silly to point some building up, go down, is it started up again? And as I say, ladies and gentlemen, it's silly to bring you down this river and you really don't know what you're looking at. So we do try our best, we point the buildings out and hopefully it makes the journeys that bit more interesting. If we don't talk to you, nobody else will, and it does become very unfair. If you've understood and enjoyed it, like to show a little token of appreciation, you can do it if you want to. When you're leaving the boat, you'll see me down by the exit door with our old tip bucket. And you're more than welcome to drop a few bob in the old bucket when you leave. If you don't know what a few bob is, we do now accept American Express, Traveller's Checks, Visa card and the good old. But I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'll be down at the exit door. It's the front door this time on the left-hand side. I'll be there to help you off. Did everyone enjoy it, folks? Yeah! Good. And say, stay on this boat for British. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, you can see we're on the way now, and we're heading down through Tower Bridge to Greenwich. It's going to take about 20-25 minutes to reach Greenwich. We're going against the very strong incoming flood tide this afternoon. Now, as we're getting underway through Tower Bridge, we will mention some more buildings of interest on the way to Greenwich. If you want me to continue with the commentary, would anyone like that? Is that okay? Very good, okay. Safety on the boat for the new passengers. There's life rings, life rafts and life jackets. And as we're through the bridge, we go to our left. And there between the buildings, we have the entrance to St Catherine's Docks. Now the dockway on the left-hand side was built as a high security dock. Expensive cargo like tea, ivory, silver, wool and gold went through the entrance. Today it's a lovely marina. There's some lovely yachts and tall-masted boats moored in St Catherine's Docks there on the left-hand side. Away into the right-hand side now we've got Butler's Wharf. Now Butler's Wharf in its day here was a very big tea warehouse, and ships like the Cutty Sark, they moored here to unload their chests of tea. Today the buildings on the right are luxury riverside apartments, and they value anywhere between £1 and £5 million. The lower floor of the building is restaurants. There's Chop House, Le Pont de la Tour, Cantina, All Bar One and Browns, and these are all really nice bars and restaurants by the riverside. Follow the line of the building along on the right and you'll see there's a little entrance between the buildings. There's a little bridge that crosses over the creekway. This is known as St Saviour's Dock, or Dockhead of Bermondsey, and this is where they filmed the musical Oliver Twist. This is where Fagin had his den of pickpocket thieves. Bill Sykes was hung from the warehouse roof. On the low tide the water drains away and leaves a muddy creek, and that's where Fagin dropped the jewels in the sticky mud at the end of the film. St Saviour's Dock, or Dockhead of Bermondsey. Ahead of us and to the left-hand side here we've got these green glass apartments. These are the newest apartments in this part of the river. Like other modern buildings around London, they designed these buildings with a theme. So they're designed to look like something. Now, I honestly believe you can sit and look at these buildings all day long. You'll never guess in a million years what they are. Most people say a ship or a boat, that's what you'd probably think being by the river. Although these buildings, in fact, are French marching soldiers. Have a look at the rooftop, you can see that is the beret. The sloped roof is the beret. Above that is a square box and the white stick, the backpack and the tip of his gun. They say you need a very wide imagination or to be on heavy medication, one or the other. So in my opinion, not everyone can be wrong, can they? No one's ever got it right. Ahead of us and to the left, you'll see the entrance over there. That is the entrance into the old London dock. Now the cargo that went through the entrance over there was alcohol. Barrels of port, sherry, brandy, ales and wine were all bottled in the old London docks there on your left-hand side. Just past the entrance to the London dock there's Oliver's Wharf. Down to the side of Oliver's Wharf there's a little pub. You'll see it coming into view in a moment. And to the left of the pub there's some stairs that lead you down into the river. Now these stairs, they take you down onto the foreshore, which is known as Execution Dock. Now on a very, very low tide, you've got a big piece of exposed foreshore on the left, and you would have seen the pirates. They were taken down onto the foreshore, chained or shackled to a wooden post, and left there for the tide to flood over your head. That very cruel type of execution was the Grace of Wapping, and the last famous pirate to be executed, Captain William Kidd in 1701. He met his death on the Wapping foreshore as he had. Further along and to our left-hand side, we've got this building with the blue and white panelling on it. That is the dry dock and repair yard of the Thames River Police, the oldest uniformed police force in the world. They date back to 1798. More than 30% of London's cargo went missing, so they set up the Thames River Police, and that, I say, was in 1798. It's a lovely view behind the boat there, folks. Take a look behind you on the left, look, Tower Bridge of the City of London. That's a fine, fine view there on the right. In the summertime, you can visit this pub on the right and sit out on the river's wall, taking that lovely view of Tower Bridge. A nice pub, the Angel on the right. Over to the left, you'll see the police boats. On the police boats on the left, you'll see there's a little pub and it's called the Captain Kidd. It's named after the famous pirate Captain William Kidd. That's just beyond the pier on the left-hand side there. We've left we've left Bermondsey on the right. We've now gone into Rotherhithe. Still Wapping on the left. Phoenix Wharf ahead of us there. King Henry Wharves and Gulf Wharf on the left-hand side. These buildings retain lots of character. They give us an idea to what it looked like maybe 50 or 60 years ago. You see, this was a very busy working port. Now over to the right, in Rotherhithe, there's a church, and that is the Church of St Mary's at Rotherhithe. Now buried in the church is the Captain Christopher Jones. He was the captain of the Mayflower, the ship that took the Pilgrim Fathers to America in 1620. Now the ship, it sailed from here, it stopped at various ports along the coast before it crossed the Atlantic to America. Eventually they brought the ship back up the river and it was broken up here on the shore. And some of the timber went into making furniture. Thank you very much, sir, it's very kind. Some of the timbers went into making furniture which is in the church. There's a nice pub here on the right and it's called the Mayflower. Look on the roof and there's a bronze weather vane. That's a little replica of the Mayflower itself there. See the pub? Very nice in there. We're going ahead of the boat and to our left-hand side now. You'll see New Crane Wharf, also Metropolitan Wharf. Now take a look at the word wharf, W-H-A-R-F. Look at each letter in the word wharf. And what these letters stand for, look at each letter, warehouse at river front. That's what a wharf is, it's a warehouse at riverfront. We follow the line of the buildings along and to our left-hand side and you'll come to a little white building. Follow the line right along on the left, a little white building ahead of us, the oldest pub on the river, the Prospect of Whitby. It gets its name from a coal-carrying ship. It delivered coal from Whitby in Yorkshire. Now the crew, they used the pub when they came to London. One evening on their return trip, the crew and the ship were lost in a violent storm. So in memory, they renamed the pub the Prospect of Whitby, and that's in memory of the crew and the ship that were lost at sea. On the right there you can see people fishing, look, fishing for the eels. I think he might even have something on there, that boat, look. Generally eels, that's, no, yeah, got nothing, just this weight, plastic bag, yeah. As I say folks, you do catch lots of eels on this little section of the river. The tide is very slack here and the fish will sit in the slack tide and you'll see the people fishing along this section of the river. Ahead of us on the left in the park there is a red dome. That is an air and lift ventilation shaft of the Rotherhithe Road Tunnel. Running under the river here, ladies and gentlemen, is the very busy Rotherhithe Tunnel. Away to our left inland from the buildings on the left, we have the areas of Whitechapel, where the Jack the Ripper murders took place, 1888. Bethnal Green, Stepney, Mile End. These are all parts of the old East End of London. Then further along and to the left-hand side here, we have a funny looking building, looks a little bit like Legoland. Now the reason it looks like that, every apartment in the building has got a view of the river. Every apartment has its own balcony. That increases the value of each one. So to have your own apartment, your own balcony and your own view is going to make each apartment more expensive. If you look next door to the orange building, you've got the two old buildings with the little arches along the front there. and that is part of the old Free Trade Wharf. Now, Free Trade Wharf, ladies and gentlemen, gets its name from the Great Plague of London. When the Great Plague was happening in London, the foreign countries refused to come to London in fear of catching the deadly plague. The only people that continued to trade here were the Dutch sailors, and the Dutch sailors come up to London with important supplies. They were therefore granted free trade. In thanks to the Dutch sailors, they were given barrels of port, sherry and brandy for their journey home. So on the way back to Holland, they could have a few old drinks, and that would encourage them to come back again. And that's where you get the saying of punctual courage. If you're having a drink, that's what the sailors all the years ago come to. Then on the left-hand side there, you can see a little entrance on the left. See the little canal boat in front of us? If you got that little canal boat and went through that lock there, ahead of you then are 2,000 miles of inland canal and water. Ahead of you then are 2,000 miles of canal and inland water. Gone to Birmingham, Manchester, over to Wales, down through Bristol on the Great Western Canal, takes you right down to top part of Somerset, Devon and Cornwall. Limehouse is the area ahead of us to the left-hand side. Limehouse is the old part of the East End of London. Now, Limehouse gets its name from the Great Fire. When the Great Fire burnt out, the elders of the city decided never to build in thatch and timber. So they rebuilt London using brick, and this is where they set up all the lime kilns that made the bricks that rebuilt London after the Great Fire of London. Limehouse on the left was the original Chinatown. When you had all the ships arriving in the docks ahead of us on the left, the Chinese people coming over on the tea clippers from China, they settled in Limehouse on your left. There's an old pub there on the left with the balconies and the golden lettering in the top, the Grapes of Limehouse, a very, very old London pub. You can see Canary Wharf, the central tower with the pyramid top, number 1 Canada Square. We got HSBC and the City Group. When they first built this area, none of the big companies would leave London. There was no real road access. The transport wasn't very good. Since the Jubilee line, the Docklands Light Rail, the London City Airport, this area has done very, very well for itself. It has always been a very busy place, you see, because you've had the ships arriving from all over the world here for many years. Today, this area on the left, very, very busy with all the office work. It accommodates nearly 100,000 office workers. Now, as the tide's nice and high here this afternoon, we're going to get a good view between the buildings on the left-hand side. If you look to the left, you can see there's a gap between the towers coming up just behind the pier, and if you look through this gap in the distance, you'll see the O2 Arena and also the new cable car that crosses the Thames down by the O2. Some of you might have seen or heard about that. We'll be able to see it now as we go through the gap. From where we are, you've got the river that we're in here, the land on your left, then the river, and the O2 is on the other side of the river through this gap. So between us and the O2, there's a big bend in the river here, known as the Isle of Dogs. Look down in front of us, you can see the river bends down and round, and it rounds all the way back and past the O2 on the other side. Can you see that? It's a massive, massive bend in the river. It's known as the Isle of Dogs. To save the big ships going round this big bend, they dug a canal. It went across the land on your left-hand side, took you out into the river on the other side of the island. Now what I'm going to do, folks, just mention a little bit about the river, and then there's a little bit in the journey here where there's just not too much to say. It's just these apartments, you see. All I can really tell you about them is they're very nice and expensive, and I don't own any of them, okay? So I'm going to tell you a bit about the river and then we'll just give your ears a break for a couple of minutes. This is a very, very high tide today, folks. This is coming up, it's now 7.1 metres from low tide, and it is running 0.3 of a metre above, and there is about 40 minutes before high tide. So I'll predict the tide will go to about 7.5 metres. It's really a lot of water that comes rushing in from the open sea, which is 45 miles downriver. If you look over on that old pier to the left, on them wooden posts over there, you'll see a number of black birds, and they are the cormorants. A cormorant is a fish-eating bird. It eats up to its own body weight in fish every day. If there was no fish, you wouldn't see any cormorants on the river. There are lots and lots of fish back on the old River Thames today. So as I say, folks, there's a little pause in the commentary now, just a couple of minutes. Let you have your ears a break, give me a little break for a minute. And so as we get to the next bend, we're going to see Greenwich and I'll talk to you about it. But has everyone enjoyed it so far, ladies and gentlemen? Has it been good? Thanks a lot. Thank you for listening, especially to the few brave souls on the open top there with us. So it won't be a moment, we'll speak again. Thank you. ladies and gentlemen. Away to the left-hand side, we've got a view there of Greenwich. Now, we're just passing Deptford on the right. You see this all big open area that we've just passed on the right? This was the old Deptford Naval Yard. This is where they built the naval ships many years ago. Some of the very first ships the Navy built were built there in Deptford. That's away on the right-hand side. Away to our left, this is the Isle of Dogs still. If you look over the building tops on the left, you can see the O2, look. Can you see the support legs in the distance there? So that goes to show the sheer size of the bend that we was explaining just a moment ago back up by Canary Wharf. Where you see these yellowy green fronted building here, there's an old chimney between the buildings, and that is the old Millwall shipyard. This is where they built the Great Eastern. It was the largest ship built on the banks of the river to our left hand side. In front of the boat, folks, we have the Royal Borough of Greenwich. Now down on the left, the building with the 4 chimneys, the Greenwich Power Station. That is a backup system for the London Underground and the Greenwich Borough. Then you've got the 2 white buildings with the grey domes. They're the Royal Naval Colleges. They were designed by Wren and Inigo Jones. For many years the Royal Navy were trained and nursed in those buildings just ahead of us. Greenwich University and Trinity House of Music today. Then you can see the Cutty Sark, and in front of that there's a red dome with a glass top. That is the air and lift vents of the Greenwich Foot Tunnel. We have a foot tunnel under the river, takes you from Greenwich onto the Isle of Dogs. Now to mention the Cutty Sark, the famous tea clipper, built in Dumbarton in Scotland in 1869, delivered tea from China, brought wool to London from Australia, and it's moored there today, folks. You can visit the famous Cutty Sark. Now tonight when we go to bed, don't forget you're going to put your clock forward an hour. We go 1 hour ahead into British summertime. Believe it or not, this is supposed to be summertime. It's one of the longest winters I've ever known. But anyway, let's talk about the time now. So when we go ahead into British summertime, we run 1 hour ahead of GMT. Now at 5 minutes to 1, GMT, 5 minutes to 1, you see these brown flats on the right, look above them, up on the hill, in amongst the trees, the green dome, the T-bar, the red ball. Can you see that? At 5 minutes to 1 every day, that red ball rises up, and at 1 o'clock the ball drops down, and that indicates to me and you 1 o'clock GMT. Lots of people do ask why it's done at 1 o'clock and not at midnight. Well, the man who set the clocks years ago, by the time he set all the clocks around the country, around the world, he gave him just enough time to set his own clock and to set the ball, so he done everyone else's clock first, then set his ball and his time at 5 to 1. So that's why it's done at 1. Now I'd like to thank everyone for your very kind attention. Now as I say, folks, the boats return, the last boat to leave here this afternoon, it is leaving at 5 to 6. Boats leave at 5 to and at 25 past, okay? 5 to, 25 past every half an hour, 5 to 6 the last boat. Whatever you're going to do when you get off the boat in Greenwich, I love Greenwich, a lovely place, some nice shops, you've got the Greenwich Market on, there's loads of nice pubs, really a couple of nice pubs to have some food as well. So whatever you do, have a lovely day. I'll be down at the gate to help you ashore. And as we said earlier on, if you've understood and enjoyed it, like to show a little bit of appreciation towards our effort, you can do it. When you leave the boat, you'll see me down by the door of our old tip bucket. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'd like to thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
在伦敦河上的泰晤士河船上，大宝宝还在睡觉，刚起床。阿多多，来。睡好啦。啊，大人呐、
就不是。
欧米伽，吃第二次。
我去买葱了。
喝烤药。啊，爸爸弄，爸爸弄。Tower Bridge。
要不然你的手。
好，一下下，一下下。